Taking a look at two very important issues. As said yesterday, we're told that the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital had increased its dialysis treatment cost from 380 Ghana cedis to 491 Ghana cedis. We're hearing indications that it may have been approved by Parliament. But we heard from a ranking member of the Health Committee in Parliament who says that this is false. They have not approved any increase in cost at all. So where is this coming from, and what does this mean for the number of, kidney patients who are supposed to be on dialysis treatment? We're told at least a maximum of 3 times a week. Then we'll take a look at the Electoral Commission. Yesterday, they organized a press conference responding to some concerns that had been raised, one of them being the fact that they rectified errors in their voter registration figures. Well, Mr. Bosman Asari says that there's no need to cry foul about it because the original figures were right. It was only the computation that led to the errors. And so we'll take a look at that. In the studios, I have with me Dr. Sami Aye. He's a member of the NDC Communications team. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
By God's grace, we are managing. We have been inundated with work stress and other things. I believe that going forward, we will find a way of reducing our stress. But all in all, we are managing. Yeah, we can't complain. Especially
because we're told that stress is also linked to high blood pressure.
Yes.
A lot of young people are getting stroke. So we all have to take, some rest.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
So please, don't overwork yourself. Rest if you can. But Dr. Ezekiel Ejekum Obing is also a member of the NPP communications team. You don't look like you are stressed. You look like you've been having quite a good couple of months.
He's not stressed.
He's obviously stressed.
He's not stressed.
He's not.
He just needed to say it for saying sake.
Oh, but how do you know? He's the one that's telling us how he's feeling.
We had a warm conversation, backdoors before this session. And clearly you could tell from his demeanor
that he's not stressed.
He wasn't stressed. He needed to say something for a particular reason, but we can't forget.
Well, you're also a doctor, so I guess you have assessed him and you know.
I did a quick examination on him.
And he's fine?
He's very stable.
Okay. But you are also very stable?
By God's grace.
You've had a good week?
By God's grace.
Okay. We thank God for that. But let's get into our first topic for this morning. I'll give you some facts about the increment in figures. Now, as at October last year and the months before that, in fact, for a couple of years, if you were undergoing dialysis treatment in the country, you had to pay 380 Ghana cedis at that time. And we're told that on the average, you have to do it at least 3 times a week. There are some who cannot afford it, so they're doing just twice a week. But if you have to do it 3 times a week, we decided to do some computation. That will cost you 1,140 Ghana cedis every week. So on an average in a month, you're looking at 4,560 Ghana cedis if you have to undergo dialysis treatment. And annually, that's 54,720 Ghana cedis. That is if there's no additional routine medication or you don't have any underlying conditions such as hypertension or diabetes. So if there's routine medication every week, that's an extra 345 Ghana cedis that you have to pay, aside the 380 that you were paying for every session. So annually, that would mean 85,020 Ghana cedis. Now, if you look at the GSS statistics, it says that about 70% of working Ghanaians earn less than 3,000 Ghana cedis a month, or about 36,000 Ghana cedis a year. So if these workers should undergo dialysis treatment or they need it, we're told that they will require about 2.4 times more of their annual salary to be able to stay alive. And unfortunately, as it stands now, 90% of Ghanaians are priced out of dialysis care. And so that's a major problem. I'll give you some more details. So CDD's recent research says that between 13 to 17% of Ghana's population have some form of renal function impairment. That's about 4 million to about 5.2 million Ghanaians. Unfortunately, we're told that 15,000 to 19,500 of them require dialysis treatment, but only 2,000 people are able to undergo dialysis treatment. So that leaves about 17,500 people who cannot afford it in many cases, or who decide to go for some herbal treatment, and that also it could exacerbate the issue before they come to the hospital. So it's a very dire situation on the ground at the moment. And now we're told that as said yesterday, the prices have increased from 380 Ghana cedis to 491 Ghana cedis. Yesterday, some patients could not undergo treatment at Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. This is what they had to say.
It's too much. They should rather reduce the 380. If you don't pay, you come and lie on the machine.
Okay.
So you have to squeeze everything to get the 491. So we are appealing to them to reduce it. It's too much.
I can't stay outside for them. I don't have any money to increase it. That 490, I don't have it. So so I'll stay here to watch them. So they will ever get a chance. If I tell them they should let me do that, they will not. I will go home. And what happened? It will happen.
If you take more than this, the water will clench in your lungs. You can't breathe, you can't sleep, you can't do anything. There is a lot of pain till you get machine for dialysis. And here is the case, they have increased the price. So now you're afraid to even drink water or eat because you don't know when you are going to get money and then come and do the dialysis.
From here to my house, it's just Thursday, dialysis. I think that's what will be going through my mind. It's all about money, 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 money. Anytime I wake up, money. I sleep, money. Anything I do, money.
The president of the Kidney Patient Association.
And you heard from some of the patients. Good morning, by the way, to Mr. Robert Coleman. He says I should slow down. I'm talking too fast, so I'll try and slow down a bit. But good to hear from you. But these are some of the patients at Kolibu Teaching Hospital. And yesterday, Mr. Kojo Bafo Ahinkra, who's the president of the Dialysis Patients Association, had raised some concern. Besides the fact that he said a lot of them could not undergo dialysis treatment because of the increase in cost, he said that he was hearing from some quarters that this increment came from Parliament. We're going to raise him on the phone line so we can speak to him on this matter, especially because yesterday we heard from the ranking member of the Health Committee, and he said that in actual fact that was false. There was no increment coming from Parliament, and he has no idea why this is being peddled about because it is not true. When we raise him on the line, we'll speak to him so we can find out exactly where he heard this from. And now that Parliament is saying they are not the ones. In fact, he's on the line, we're told. Mr. Kojo Bafo, good morning.
Good morning, Bella.
Thank you for joining us. How are you doing this morning?
By God's grace.
Were you able to undergo treatment yesterday?
Yes.
You were?
But I struggled a lot before I was able to do it.
When you say you struggled, what exactly caused the struggle?
I didn't have the 491. So I have to call a few friends to support me to go through. And I needed it yesterday. I needed it because it was, we've gone through the week. It's a weekend. I've eaten, I've drank. So I needed to clean the system. And I have to call friends. It was very tough, but, you know, they need me alive. So they managed to get me something to go through it.
Well, you're lucky to have some friends and family who could, you know, gather some money to support you yesterday. I can imagine how many more people had to go back home without undergoing treatment yesterday. Do you have the figures?
Seriously. Bella, let me even chip in this. One of it.
You'll have to reposition yourself. We cannot hear you at the moment. Can you hear us, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, we can hear you now. Carry on.
Yeah. I was saying even yesterday, you know, there's a reporter who came there. I think Cosby, something Cosby.
Okay. We cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
I'm saying even yesterday, when reporter who came around, Nobel Cosby has to pay for about 4 people, have to top it up for about 4 people before they were able to go through their session.
Wow.
Yeah. He has to pay about 600 for about 4 people to top it up before they were able to go through their session.
That's really sad. But I've heard you say that, you know, you were told that this increment was approved from Parliament.
Yes, that is what we were told. That is the information we had, that it came from Parliament. That's about 2 months ago.
Okay.
Before the implementation was done this Friday. About 2 months ago, we had information that they've increased the price, but they were just waiting to implement it. But this time, it's an approval from Parliament. That's what we were told.
But yesterday, I heard from the ranking member of the Health Committee, and he says that this is not true. They have not increased the prices at all.
That is what I heard him. I was on the line with him. Yes, I also heard him. But the point is, hey, who are we? That's the information that we got. So if it is not from Parliament, then they have to rectify the situation. They shouldn't allow the increment to take place. That's all that we can say. If it's not from them, but if it's from them to them, what we are just saying is that we cannot pay this 491. This morning, they wake me up around 4 a.m. The patient calling me So what are we doing? Let's organize a press conference. Let's let the world know we cannot pay. And I've not slept from 4 a.m. up to now. The calls are just coming from the patient, my colleagues. What are we doing? What are we doing? But the point is, hey, the system is very hot. Calling somebody to even to assist you to go is a problem. We just simply can't afford this 491. That is almost 500. As per your intro, you even said your medication has not come. Your ingestion has not come. Your transportation has not come. We don't eat just anything. You are on diet. You have something you're supposed to eat. Everything about it is very expensive. So we are begging them. They should look at this 419, even the 380. Well, I'm telling you, the 380. The people are supposed to do 3 sessions a week. They've cut it to 2. People are not even doing once a week. Because once a week, because they cannot even afford the 380 for twice or 3 times a week. So he managed, he has 1,380, he comes to do it for a week, he goes and manages himself. Always they are just deteriorating. You come, you see their faces, their legs, their stomach, everything is horrible.
Now, I remember you called on government to see if they can reduce the taxes on some of the consumables with regards to, dialysis treatments and the importation of some of these machines. What feedback have you gotten from that request?
Yes, that was a fighting we were fighting for. I think last year, when the budget was being read, we were told that the taxes on the consumables have been taken off. But as to how effective it was, I don't have any idea about it. But I remember when the budget was being read, Honorable Kenufo and that the taxes on medical consumables are being taken off. But as to how effective it was, I don't know as of now I'm talking to you now.
So as it stands now, you have no decision as to what, the association intends to do moving forward?
We intend to go see a parliamentary select committee on health.
Okay.
And have a chat with them that they should relook at it. That the point is, if they don't take it, the mortality rate will go up very high. Like I said yesterday, your reporter has to take his money from his pocket to top it up for about 4 people. It's not that we're not going to do it. And going home without the dialysis is a serious case altogether. Because maybe he has not done it for a week or 2. Anything at all can happen there with the person. So I'm sure we are talking on TV and radio now. They've heard us.
All right.
Quickly as possible, something should be done. But let me chip in there. We are doing, National Health Insurance is doing something on it. It's on the table, and I'm part of the committee.
Okay.
We are working something, but we've not concluded yet. But all the same, before it will come out, they should let us go back to our 380 and let's see the way forward. I know government is listening and something will really come out, but we beg them for now. They should stop this for the 491. Right. We beg them, recant.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And that's Mr. Kojo for Ahinkra. He's the president of the Dialysis Patients Association. Doc, I'll come to you first. I mean, both of you are doctors anyway, but Dr. Being, I'll come to you first. And this is very worrying, especially listening to him talking about the fact that some of them had to be turned away. Some had to call on friends and family before they could afford this. And we're not sure where this increment is coming from because one quarter says we didn't approve the increment. The other quarter says, well, this is where we're hearing it from, that it actually came from Parliament. Who should we believe? These are lives that are at stake. I'm not sure we want to lose any more lives. We lost about 19 lives the last time when we kept going on about, the renal department being closed for about a couple of months. And we're back to this again. Why is this happening?
All right, Bella, let's start by sending our empathy to the affected persons and what they need to go through. I always say that even with dialysis, even if you are getting dialysis for free, the experiences of the renal failure patients, it's not one that anyone wants to go through, even with the dialysis. But we'll come to that later. With the increments, I don't think if there is any increment to any public service, it will be the select committee. So if the honorable member, the ranking member, says that they've not approved any charges, then I think I agree with him because it won't come from the Select Committee on Health. It will rather be the Sub-Legislative Committee.
But that's the committee that he says has not approved.
And my information also tells me that it came from Parliament. However, I mean, a trip down memory lane, we understand, or we were here somewhere latter part of last year when the issue broke and the fact that Kolebu wanted to increase their charges to about 780 cedis. And they gave a couple of reasons, part of which were some debts, about $4 million they were saddled with, which they needed to offset, and some arrangements with their suppliers of their consumables and machines. You know, quickly, everyone descended on Kolebu, more or less. And Parliament also came in heavily, telling Kolebu that once you're a state institution like yourself, you can't arrogate the powers onto yourself to charge certain fees that are unapproved. So Parliament took hold of the issue. That's what makes me believe that indeed the charges were approved by Parliament.
Well, per what Mr. Kwabena Mintakadon is saying, yes, that conversation came up, and they said the chairman of the subsidiary legislative committee said go to finance ministry, try and get some details on that, come back to us, and then we'll have a conversation as to whether we should increase or not. Right. So it never went back to the sub-legislative committee for them to even approve.
We can always ask and check from Parliament and also from Kolebu to give us where the approval actually came from. But government also took steps to offset the $4 million debt that the dialysis unit owed to its suppliers, then which brought the issue down a bit to give some room for the outfit to operate. Okay. And then the president also called on NHI and the ministry to look into the possibility of NHIS covering the cost of dialysis. And I mean, various interest groups and organizations, individuals also contributed to that effect. That was about time the state took total costs or burden of dialysis management or renal failure management. So I know the regional health directorate, including the regional hospitals, were to do some studies on how many patients they see on daily basis, how many they see on monthly basis. I mean, collate the figures across board and let NHI sit to look into the books, work with the parliamentary committee and the ministry to come out with a sustainable way forward. And I'm glad the president of the patient clearly stated that he's part of the committee that's seeing to it. And the government also directed some emergency funds to be diverted to catering or assisting the renal failure patients. And from the CEO of NHI, he's told us that Parliament has approved that emergency funding. And the renal patients president also stepped in to say that they believe the distribution of assistance is going to be fair because it was to assist the needy. But his argument was that even if you had money and you had to cough 380 cedis a session for about 3 sessions a week for 1 year, then clearly how much money would you have to call yourself non-needy, in quotes? So he pleaded with government and NHI to make sure that, yes, indeed, the distribution and assistance is made fair and equally distributed to all patients. So it clearly shows that government has taken some steps. The cost of dialysis treatment is very high everywhere across. Just few meters away from here, if you go to the police hospital, they are charging about 450 cedis per session. And I understand from end of May, they are going to increase it to about 600 cedis. If you go to the Maritime Hospital... For the police hospital? Yes. If you go to the Maritime Hospital, for example, they have a package that takes into consideration the labs you do and some of the medications. And the session for that package is 950 cedis. If you don't do your labs with them and you don't take your medication from them, a session of dialysis alone is about 850 cedis for dialysis. So clearly, you could tell that, I mean, looking across the various facilities across the country, Kolebu really was indeed subsidizing their charges, even with the 380 cedis. Because police hospital is taking 450. They are going to increase it to 600. Maritime Hospital is doing a package of 950 for those that take their medications and labs from them. Those that don't take labs and medications from them is 850 per session. And that's supposed to be the right amount if you look at how much we're spending. So even, I say this cautiously and very sensitively, even with the approval of 491, it clearly shows that Kolebu will still be subsidizing the cost or the sessions for basically all its patients. Because indeed, 450 and 490 and 850 or even 950, you can clearly But who is approving the increments from Kolebu? Because it's not an independent unit. It cannot just run on its own and decide to increase prices just like that. Very good. Like I said, my information has that it was Parliament, but from what you're also saying, it's where are you getting this information from? It's something I read online, and that's the same thing. You read it online? Yes, but this was a statement attributed to the president of the renal patients, like he said. But this is
a ranking member on the health committee, and he is saying that he has spoken to the chairperson of the sub-legislative committee. He says they have not
I think we can speak to the Ministry of Health, because in the end, the Kolebu directly falls as a tertiary facility, falls directly under the Ministry of Health. We can also speak to some persons in the ministry to give us clarity. We can speak to the Kolebu CEO or the medical director at Kolebu to give us some clarity. But the substance of the matter is that in as much as we empathize with renal patients, even with the 491, Kolebu will still be doing a lot of good to us. We hope that at least the cry of the renal patients is heard in good faith for government and Kolebu on stakeholders to come to their aid. But government has not slept on the matter. I mentioned the $4 million debt that was offsetted by the ministry, the emergency fund that has been created. Now, Dr. Okoboy on 3rd May visited Kolebu Teaching Hospital with a new urology and nephrology center of excellence that this government has constructed to help with kidney and renal disease across the country. He clearly stated that government is in the process of subsidizing the cost for renal patients. Because yes, NHI is still in the boardroom discussing how much government can absorb as part of the cost for dialysis.
But he's also saying that we could introduce sin tax on some 1 or 2 products which are normally not consumed by the ordinary person. And that could also raise some money. In fact, there's one viewer who says that why don't we replace COVID levy tax with dialysis tax, for example, so that we raise that amount of money to support these patients.
And a lot of people have shared similar concerns. Dr. Tokobo himself was on Asampa FM, and he said if people are drinking whiskey and certain brandies, certain brand of alcoholic beverages, I mean, they are luxurious alcoholic beverages, for example. So certain items that are imported into the country that only the rich, in quotes, can afford. And like he rightly put it, certain cent taxes can be introduced on those items to bring some monies to the NHI. He's also bemoaned the fact that over the years, I mean, the issue of how much goes into NHI per the charges and how much actually comes to the facility or the outfit, and how much it is best to them to take care of their needs. He believes that if we go back to the drawing table and review the act that established NHI, he believes that the country is in pole position to take care of renal patients. So yes, it's unfortunate what they are going through. At the same time, there's a lot government is doing, and a lot government can also do to assist them to, I mean, relieve them of their plight.
Dr. If you look at how much money these patients have to spend for treatment, it's no joke. And we can't seem to even figure out who is approving the increment in cost. Are we joking with the lives of these people if you look at it that way?
Yes, Bella, let me first of all say good morning to our viewers. Good morning to my co-panelist, Dr. Ezekiel here, and your good self. Bella, I am very, very sad, extremely sad this morning. I am worried, I'm scandalized. Indeed, my heart is bleeding upon hearing that the cost of dialysis at Kolebu, where the services being rendered are one of the cheapest in this country, has increased astronomically from 380 cedis to 491. That is an increment of 30%. This is essentially a death warrant to many of the people whose lives depend on this very, very essential facility. And Bella, there's a saying that when the aged hear any conversation about dry bones, they become jittery. It is the same way I'm feeling this morning.
You are jittery?
Very scared, because I, as a young medical doctor, and my brother here is also a medical doctor, I have had patients with my superiors that we have managed, patients with end-stage renal disease. The experiences and the memories are grim. It is not one that you may want to visit at any point in time. Okay, Bella, you rightly said this morning that now they are going to pay 491 Ghana cedis, which is almost 500 cedis, excluding other medications. That is 1,500 Ghana cedis a week. Because most of the patients need about 3 sections within a week. That is 6,000 Ghana cedis at the end of every month. Bella, how many people in this country have 6,000 Ghana cedis for dialysis? So when I say this is a death warrant, that is what it means. And Bella, they say the devil lies in the details. Then, as I progress with my analysis, I'll tell you why the highest level of insensitivity has been occasioned by this government as far as this matter is concerned.
Tell us now. We want to know what you mean by
Bella,
that.
what is dialysis? Dialysis means that we are artificially replacing the functions of your kidney. So the kidney is essentially responsible for removing waste materials from your body. Now, because your kidney is dysfunctional, because of varied reasons, hypertension, diabetes, and other things, okay, it is not able to do that. So we have to connect your body to a machine that removes this waste. Now, the machine is first of all expensive. The other consumables and materials that are used in this process, there are blood lines that are being used, there are special dialysis fluids, there are filters, there are bicarbonates. These materials are not made in Ghana. They are imported. And so, unlike other governments, I mean, previously under Kufuor, under Mills, under Mahama, government has consistently been providing subsidies for these materials. Indeed, there were reduced import duties on these materials, as corroborated by the PRO for Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Mr. Mustafa Isifu. He said to the whole country that presently, under this regime, these subsidies have been removed from these materials. Import duties have astronomically increased for these materials. So, Bella, this is the highest level of insensitivity as far as this matter is concerned. Indeed, we were told that last year, you know, there's a public-private partnership between Kolebu and a private investment from Germany. I think it's Fresenius company or something like that. They were in a debt of our 4 million cedis. Only a paltry 4 million Ghana cedis. For that reason,
it might look paltry to you, but that's a lot of money.
If you look at the sort of government we have in this country, the sort of monies we have raised as a country, at the last reckoning, this government has had over 1.3 trillion Ghana cedis. And so 4 million Ghana cedis is only a microcosm. It is a minuscule as compared to the huge amount of monies that we have had as a country. And so that debate does not even arise. On the basis of this, 19 people in this country died. Bella, you yourself tell us that HEFRA, which is Health Facilities Regulatory Authority, tell us that about 15,400 people in this country need dialysis. Only 1,100 are able to afford it, which is about 7.8%. So the 92% who need it and are not able to afford it have thrown their hands in despair, basically waiting to join their maker. This is an unfortunate situation. Babella, do you know what is more worrying?
What is it?
Why I am saying that this government is insensitive. Whilst we are struggling to get tax incentives, whilst we are struggling for government to give subsidies on these materials, the government is able to give private people, individuals whose services are not essential to this country, unlike this establishment. For example, about a few years ago, the president's brother, who is popularly known as Bumpty, was given tax exemptions for his hotel to a tune of $24 million.
Which hotel is this?
Oh, I'm not sure. I think it's, I'm not sure, but it is of public knowledge. Everybody knows that $24 million was given to the president's brother's hotel. At the time, we need $24 million to cater for everybody, including the 15,000 people who need dialysis to survive. Bella, do you know that as we speak, we do not have money to give subsidies for dialysis materials, but we have $110 million to dig the largest and the most expensive hole in this country in the name and shape of National Cathedral. Bella, do you know that today, $11.8 million, equivalent to over 10 trillion old Ghana cedis, have been stolen because some people are saying they are building Pualugu Dam, and the dam never materialized. When you go there, It is clear bush that is there.
But the
Nothing
president has
done.
not remained silent on this matter. In fact, he directed the Ministry of Health and NHIA to look into this and develop a plan.
Bella, they say the sweetness of the pudding is in the eating. The devil lies in the details. I have told you today, that a government that is ready to do something about it will not reduce subsidies on the materials. First of all, they will not increase import duties on these dialysis materials. The reason why there's a semblance or some response is because people have raised concerns, because people are crying on TV and they don't know what to do. It's been how long since these matters started coming? Bella, if the government was serious about it, why is it that today it has increased from 380 cedis to 491? Bella, today, Bella, as I speak to you, millions of Ghana cedis have been wasted. Today, there's a company sitting in this country that is essentially being paid $100 million a year for no work done. I'm talking about the SML. The SML GRE. KPMG tell us that today, the company has been paid 1 billion Ghana cedis for no work done.
Okay, so your
and
point
so
at this
point,
what are you saying? That what should we do?
We are here today because this government does not care a hoot. Previous governments have
demonstrated. You cannot say that for a fact. The president has spoken on this matter. In fact, Dr. Okoboy has even listed a number of things that we should be able to do. He says it's possible that we can subsidize the fees for these patients.
These are rhetorics. I have told you that the sweetness of the pudding is in the eating. What is the evidence? Today, the evidence is that dialysis fees have been increased from 380 cedis to 491.
The allegation is coming from Parliament.
At the end of the day, yesterday, the man is telling you that he paid 490 cedis yesterday. That is the results and nothing more.
But he's also hearing that it came from Parliament.
This is government business. Whether it came from Parliament or not, it is the executive that introduced it into Parliament.
And probably approved by Parliament. Parliament is made of both sides. And so if that's the case, then you cannot point fingers as only the ruling government.
The ranking member has spoken. And he is the most superior voice on this matter. He's telling us that it has not been approved. So there is something going on there that you and I must probe. But on the surface of it, we all do know that it has increased from 380 cedis to 409. That is the resource. That is the height of insensitivity. I've told you that previous governments have done a lot to make sure that it has reduced.
Okay.
But this is not the case under this government.
Well,
Bella.
Land for me, please. Your time is up.
This government, has not shown any commitment to the issues of health in this country.
Well, there's Agenda 111 that is going up. The president has directed for a plan on the kidney treatment. In fact, the finance ministry had received approval for that release of 4 million Ghana cedis for the Kolebu Teaching Hospital so they can offset their debt. So if you say they have not shown any interest in the health of citizens.
You brought Agenda 1 on this matter. Let me digress a little. Can you tell me
your time is up, actually.
Can you tell me one?
I'm not a government official, so I cannot. No, you cannot ask me that question. I'm not a government official to respond to that. Dr. Albin is here. He'll be the one to respond. But let me just say quickly that we. One second, and it's gone.
You are telling us that government is mentioning Agenda 111. They themselves publish a tracker. Not one single hospital, not one single hospital has been completed. Indeed, they projected a hospital that is at 0% completion.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Who shows work at 0%?
So just to say that 24 million Ghana cedis, that Dr. Aya mentioned, that was given out, wants us to dissociate ourselves from it from now. We'll have to do our checks to get those details. And so we're not in any way accepting that on this platform just yet.
Okay. That's the name of the hotel.
All right. We will do our checks and be sure about it. Okay, no problem. Let me come to Dr. Ben. You've spoken for too long.
$24 million free of charge.
I mean, if you look at all these things, and if you look at even the viewers, they're disappointed that we spent about $2 million on SkyTrain. There's COVID levy. We received over $3 billion US dollars into this country. There was a report by the Auditor General indicating that there were some aspects of the money that were not spent on the matter or adequately. In fact, there are people who were paying themselves for work that they say they had done when health workers, frontline health workers, were still crying about, the monies they were supposed to be paid. All that money gone down the drain. And we're back to this matter where it looks as if these patients are the ones who are supposed to find money to take care of themselves. Isn't that problematic? Do you care as a government?
Bella, I'm a bit disappointed in my brother.
What has he done?
It wasn't unexpected, though. I mean, I thought we had a panel of medical doctors who would come and speak to issues of medicine and the plight of the renal patient. But clearly, my brother, unsurprisingly, zoomed into the realms of propaganda to make a submission. Now, this is what government has done to help the renal patient alone. I've given you the cost of dialysis in certain facilities, especially the private ones, and the quasi facilities, and the cost even with the increment at Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. This same government allocated $4 million to offset the debt of the renal unit.
4 million cedis.
$4 million. $4 million to offset the debt of Korle Bu Teaching Hospital.
That was 4 million cedis. It wasn't dollars.
Dialysis unit.
You have to
we just want to correct you that it's actually cedis and not dollars.
The same government.
So please accept that.
The same government in the budget clearly stated the waiver given to consumables in our budget. Clearly has stated that.
What are the waivers? Tell us.
Do
you have those details?
The consumables for dialysis unit. The consumables, yes. Government is...
So waivers on all the consumables or some of them, and how much?
I know it's for the consumable. I don't know how much Korle Bu consumes in terms of consumables, but whichever amount of consumables Korle Bu imports from the budget, government is giving a waiver. This same government has approved an emergency fund, which Parliament has given consent to help the renal patient. This same government is proposing on the table of NHI to subsidize the cost of renal patients. And I believe so, because the same government that roped in the treatment of sickle cell under NHI is the same government that gave credence to childhood cancers and catered for childhood cancers under the NHI. This same government has set up an ultra-modern, built in quote, an ultra-modern facility for rheology and nephrology patients at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital to expand access to the facility. This same government has delivered drones. My brother was speaking. He said some of the things you need for the patient on the machine are not produced here. They are very, very essential. In an event where Korle Bu Teaching Hospital has some of the things, and my village hospital does not have, this government has deployed drones to make sure that essential medicines and blood are provided for all patients who are in need. Now, my brother said that indeed, and we all know from medicine, that if I'm sick today and I go to the hospital, I'm not a renal patient, if I'm sick today and I go to the hospital, I'll be given normal transfusion. When Sami needs it, normal transfusion. The renal patient cannot be transfused like me and Sami. Because yes, the kidney is the filtering agent in your body. So if you are putting in fluid and it is not controlled, it can have adverse reaction on the patient. In an event where the renal patient needs to be transfused, drones are available to make sure that blood is made available to every patient in the country. Essential medicines, they have a lot of reactions, even on the machine. At a point, you need to even pause the dialysis to take care of them before they come back on the machine. In an event where any of the essential medicines are needed in times of dialysis, drones are available to cater for those patients. This same government, once again, has provided free education to all specialist trainees in this country.
Hold on, when you say drones are available, I'm trying to understand that. So the drones will transport the medicine to the health facilities?
To the health facilities.
But not all regions have a renal unit.
How come they?
In their health department.
I'll come there.
And so the reason whether we like it or not, there are people who still have to travel long distances to some of these regions. Okay.
The reason why we don't have all regional facilities having renal centers is because the number of specialists is not enough. And you need specialists to man those centers. And what is government doing about it? Government wants to make sure that at least every district has a renal specialist. And what is government doing? Government is providing free specialist education. Sami is here. He's a doctor. He can attest to it. This government, every doctor in the country who is receiving training to become a specialist in this country does not pay any fee in any shape or form. That's what the government is doing. So in the end, when all facilities are completed and people have given opportunity to go and train as renal specialists, we can have every district in the country boasting of a specialist in renal health.
But what's the point in having a specialist when the machines are not there? If I go and see a specialist and he diagnoses me, I still have to travel.
In my district facility,
I still have to travel to undergo treatment. Cost alone, plus increment in dialysis treatment.
Exactly.
All that.
So I'm bringing the specialist to your doorstep.
But the machine is not on my doorstep.
When the specialist is ready, the facility can even import the machines or get from private people and offset their debts.
Do we have the money for that?
In installments. It's a matter of partnership. It's partnership.
Okay.
Most of the things, even medications that we receive to serve our clients in the hospital, are not paid upfront.
But that's long term.
And
let's look at
it's short
immediate.
Immediately.
Okay. But immediately, there are patients who are traveling far distances, having to pay so much for transportation.
We are solving a problem.
Then they go back and go and pay for treatment.
We are solving a problem.
What are you doing about that?
We are solving a problem. And part of solving the problem, the immediate steps is what I've told you. Offsetting the deaths of the renal patient, providing emergency funding, making sure NHI covers the cost or subsidy of renal patients.
That has not been approved yet.
Now,
there are still conversations ongoing.
I'm saying in the short to the medium term, this is what government is doing. In the long term, government wants to make sure that every district hospital has a renal center. And we are doing that because, yes, we are able to set up district hospital or ultramodern district hospitals across the country.
How many
and then we will be able to train our specialists who are already in training because, yes, we are giving free education to every doctor who's undergoing specialty training in the country. Go to the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons. No single doctor is being paid for the services or the training he's...
Okay. And let Dr. Aye come in so that we can move on to our next.
Started something like that. Oh, let me finish.
Okay, land for me 1 second, please, so Dr. Aye can come in. We have to move.
And we know where Mr. Mahama took such policies to. Clearly, the car waivers for doctors, the specialist training, free specialist training.
Okay, you touched on that already.
Everything was cancelled by Mr. Hammer. This government has reinstituted those things.
Dr. Aye,
we are making sure that each and every Ghanaian, every aspect, every quarter of the country has the benefit.
Thank you, Dr. B. And Nitete is saying that specialists without facilities and machines. Interesting. Dr. Aye.
Bella, the questions you pose to my brother Ezekiel are very, very intelligent questions. These are questions that I'm expecting every journalist in this country to be asking, to be probing. It's completely exposed Ezekiel's propaganda this morning. Okay? Every government since the inception of this country has done one or two about our health sector. He is sitting here on TV3. They have been in power for 8 years. They are now telling us that they are now building hospitals.
Should I tell you the ones we've built?
Under the NDC alone. At this time in 2016, President Mahama was commissioning hospitals.
Should I tell you the ones?
He was commissioning Ridge Hospital. He was commissioning UGMC. He was commissioning 14 district hospitals. He was commissioning 52 polyclinics in this country. And so when it comes to investment in the health sector, the MPP is a newcomer. They shouldn't even come. Okay? So, Bella, he was telling me that I'm doing propaganda about this issue. I have told you that at the end of the day, what has been the results? Today, the results is that dialysis patients are on TV crying. They are telling us that they are not able to pay. They won't be able to pay. And this is a death warrant to many of them. What has been the results of the supposed subsidies and investments Ezekiel is talking about? Any serious, any sensitive government that is willing to curtail this problem will first of all not even remove subsidies on these consumables. Will not increase import duties on these consumables. Will not wait for a 4 million cedis debt to be accumulated before some measures are taken. And so this is post-facto rationalization that politicians, especially in the MPP, do, okay, to swindle and hoodwink the people of Ghana.
So it's not enough that they are training specialists?
Are they the only government that have trained specialists in Ghana? Before they came, didn't we have specialists in Ghana?
Oh, which specialists?
No, hold on. When you were presenting, I was quiet. No. When you were presenting, I was quiet. Are they the only government to train specialists in Ghana? You rightly pointed out. You are training specialists at the same time increasing the cost of dialysis. At the same time, you're unable to provide dialysis machines. So thousands of people are not able to procure the services. And you are telling me that you are training specialists. Meanwhile, you are not the only government that has trained specialists in this country. Before you went to a medical school, there were specialists in Ghana. There were consultants in Ghana, even before you wrote your WASI. So what are you talking about? Every every government has done one way or the other to improve our health facilities and our health services in Ghana. Okay, you do not wait for the issue to deteriorate. You do not wait for 19 people to die because of 4 million Ghana cedis. Then you come and say that you have given money to offset that debt. Didn't you have 4 million Ghana cedis before you waited for that to happen? Did you need to wait for 19 people to die?
Okay.
And when I'm passionate about this issue, discussing it, Ezekiel is sitting here doing propaganda that this government is building hospitals. Are you the only government that has built hospitals? Can he tell us one district hospital that has been built by his government from scratch?
Okay, we have to move on, unfortunately. We have to move on. Let Dr. Ayala so we can move on. We need to move on because there's no time.
Ezekiel,
there's no time, please. Let him land. He has just one minute to land, or in fact 30 seconds.
So these are serious issues that we need to discuss, that we must take propaganda and sophistry out of it. What is the result today? People are not able to pay. And he was mentioning private people who are doing dialysis. You are sitting here on TV, Kolebu, a government facility, has increased prices, and you are mentioning private facilities. When you know that your control is over government facilities. Even the government that you have control over, you are not able to do anything about it.
Bella.
And people have to suffer. People have to die. Bella,
Okay.
I have seen. Bella,
Hold on, Dr. Ben.
Bella, I have seen.
10 seconds.
I have seen well-to-do families reduced to nothing because one of their own has to do dialysis. So I am very, very passionate about it.
Okay.
Well, and so the price,
so are we all.
the amount has to be reversed. The amount has to be reversed. Something must be done about it. And we are encouraging the patients to picket. We are encouraging any stakeholder.
You want the patients to picket? They
must speak to people to help them on this matter.
So they should picket?
They must express their revulsion in every way they can to make sure that this amount is reversed.
That's if they even have energy to do so, because a number of them have unfortunately not undergone dialysis treatment. We have to move on. I can't give it 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
1 minute. Every day,
Bella, when you give me as well. You give me.
Specialists have been trained. What we can boast of is that we are not asking specialists to pay for their training. We are giving them free education at the specialist level.
I see.
To make sure a lot of people are even educated. Now, coming back to hospitals we have built, he's asked me to mention one hospital we have built. Now, this is the education.
Yes.
Chedia Hospital in Achuma, Kwanuma.
Which hospital is it?
I've given you the place.
Is it a district
hospital? District hospital.
District hospital.
Yes, Mansoon Kwanta. I've given you the information.
When was it completed?
Mansoon Kwanta Hospital.
You mentioned one hospital.
I've given you the hospital.
When was it completed?
I've given you the hospital. Bella, you can help us with other information.
You are the one mentioning.
I've given you the hospital.
When was it completed? And is it operational at the moment?
It was completed within our second term. The Mansoon Kwanta Hospital is completed. Kwabeo Hospital in Atiwa West, Bogoso Government Hospital, Drobonso Hospital,
you are just mentioning
Hospital, Papra Hospital, Wasadrupa Hospital. Phase 1 of UGMC was completed by us. The Eurojet hospitals.
Next time when this NPP doctor knows, he'll be prepared against Dr. Aye. He will not pitch up. Okay. Wisdom talk by the NDC. Okay, no problem. 2 young doctors. Okay, I'll leave that one. We have the men. This government doesn't have anything for us. Sometimes I feel sorry for voting. The life of others are at risk, and they are here saying nothing. That's P.S. Lucas Aholi. Evans Blaze says, come and sit on TV and play politics with people's lives and health. Indeed, Ghana is not safe for us. Okay. It is wrong for the NPP man to say that the government is the only government paying for doctors and doing specialist courses. Yes. All governments have paid for doctors. Currently, the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons is running a course for 3 years. This government is running a loss for 3 years. This government has not released any money to the college. The college is running on its internally generated funds. That's Kutrikum, where Ghana. Okay, we'll follow up on this and give you some more details on